Lucas Viven adjusted the strap of his tool kit as he stepped into the wide corridor that led to the station's observation dome. The hiss of pressure doors and the rhythmic hum of machines were familiar sounds to him, comforting almost. He had worked on Station Calder 9 for 2 years now, fixing reactors, recalibrating atmosphere processors, and occasionally helping alien guests adapt their technology to the station's systems. It was honest work, and Lucas liked it. But today, something different pulled at him. As he passed beneath the dome's glass ceiling, a blanket of stars stretched across the vastness of space above him. Calder 9 floated in a gentle orbit above a small, gray moon. The dome was a sanctuary for those who needed quiet, who needed wonder. It was here Lucas saw her again, the silent girl who never blinked. She sat in the corner of the dome, alone as always, legs folded beneath her. Her skin shimmered like polished silver under the station lights, and her long white tunic draped loosely over her small frame. Her hair was a translucent silver, falling down her back like a waterfall of light. But it was her eyes that held Lucas in place, huge, dark, and bottomless, as though they contained entire galaxies. She stared at the stars with unblinking intensity. Lucas had noticed her for several days now, always sitting in the same spot, always alone. The other station-goers, human and alien alike, passed her by without a second glance. The few Valeri aboard the girl's species, known for their psychic gifts, seemed to pretend she wasn't there. Lucas found this strange. He had worked with Valeri before. Proud, elegant, they communicated entirely through their minds. He had never heard a Valeri speak aloud. But this girl didn't seem to speak telepathically or otherwise. She didn't respond when people walked near. She didn't flinch at the sound of station alarms or announcements. She was like a ghost, a quiet, forgotten soul. On this particular day, Lucas couldn't walk past. He hesitated, then slowly approached her. His boots made soft thuds against the polished floor. As he neared, he slowed, watching her carefully. "Hi," he said softly. No response. She didn't even glance at him. Lucas lowered himself to the floor a few feet away and placed his tool kit beside him. "My name's Lucas. I'm an engineer here. I fix things. Sometimes I talk to people too." Still nothing. He followed her gaze. The stars were brilliant tonight, like diamonds scattered across a velvet cloth. "You like the stars? I do too. My dad used to take me out camping. We'd watch the skis together. I always thought the stars were full of stories. Do you think they have stories too?" He smiled gently, not expecting a response. Just being near her felt like enough. After a few quiet minutes, Lucas reached into his bag and pulled out a small foil packet. "These are strawberry crisps. Not much, but better than station rations. Want to try one?" He extended the packet slowly, holding it in his open palm. The girl blinked. Lucas froze. That was the first time he had seen her blink. She looked at the packet, then at him. Her delicate fingers moved, reaching forward cautiously. She took one crisp, placed it in her mouth, and chewed slowly. "They're not bad, right?" No answer, but she took another. Lucas exhaled and smiled. Baby steps. He stayed for a while, talking softly about his work, about Earth, about the kinds of people who came through the station. He didn't expect answers. He only wanted to share something, anything. That became his routine. Every day after his shift, he came to the dome. Sometimes he brought snacks. Other times little gadgets like a palm-sized projector that played loops of Earth landscapes. He'd sit beside her and talk about waterfalls, cities, oceans, deserts. She never spoke, never responded with words, but she began to show signs. A flicker of a smile, a slight tilt of her head, a hand resting closer to his. One evening, Lucas arrived with a new projector. He tapped it and let it hover above his palm. Images of Earth's forests shimmered in the air, tall trees swaying, birds calling. "This one's my favorite," he said. "The redwoods, some of them are thousands of years old, they touch the sky." For the first time, she turned to him, really turned, and looked at him with those deep, dark eyes. "Where is that?" she asked. Lucas blinked, his heart skipped. "California," he said, stunned. "On Earth, it's a place I want to take someone special someday." She stared at the images again, then back at him. "Your world is beautiful." Lucas nodded, still recovering from the fact that she had spoken. "Thank you, so are you." She blinked slowly. Her lips parted slightly, and Lucas saw color rise into her cheeks, or whatever passed for a blush in her species. It looked like silver turning to lavender. "My name is Era," she whispered. Lucas smiled. "It's nice to meet you, Era." From that day on, she spoke more often, Only a few words each time, shy, halting, but it was a beginning. Lucas learned that Era had come to the station as part of a diplomatic envoy, but unlike the others, she lacked the powerful telepathic abilities that defined her people. The Valeri considered her flawed, broken, a mistake. "I don't hear thoughts clearly," she confessed one evening. "They come as noise, sometimes too loud, sometimes nothing at all." "That doesn't make you broken," Lucas said. "Just different. Different is bad among my kind." "Not to me." Era looked at him with wide eyes. For a moment she looked like she might cry, but instead she smiled, a true, open smile that reached her eyes. "Thank you." Word of their meeting spread. Some of the other Valeri avoided her more pointedly now. Others whispered when Lucas passed. He didn't care. Every day, Era's voice grew stronger. She told him of her home world, Valeri Prime, with its endless silver plains and sky crystals that sang with the wind. She spoke of her childhood, of how she was tested and found wanting. Lucas listened. He never interrupted, only encouraged. Sometimes she asked about Earth, about music, about why humans hugged. "It's a way to say I'm here," he explained, laughing. "Will you teach me?" Lucas hesitated, then gently wrapped his arms around her. She was cool to the touch, like moonlight. "I'm here," he whispered. Era pressed her face against his chest. "I hear you, not with thoughts, but I hear you." Then came the boy. He was tall, sharp-featured, elegant, everything Era was not. A perfect Valeri. His name was Veron, and he watched them from across the dome with icy contempt. One day he approached as Lucas sat beside Era. "You waste your time," Veron said. "She is a failure, she should return to the silence." Lucas stood. "She is learning to speak, she has value." Veron's lips curled in disdain. "Value in what? In weakness. She brings shame, she should not be here." Era shrank behind Lucas, but he reached back and took her hand. "Maybe you should leave." Veron's eyes narrowed. "This isn't over." He turned and walked away. Lucas turned to Era, who trembled slightly. "Don't listen to him, your voice matters, and I want to hear it, every word." Era nodded slowly, gripping his hand tighter. That night they sat in silence under the dome. The stars blinked above them. But Lucas only watched the girl who had once never blinked, and now looked at him with 1,000 words in her eyes. "You changed my world," she said softly. Lucas smiled, his heart full. "You changed mine too." And the stars for once seemed to listen. Every morning, Lucas returned to the dome, never failing to find Era seated near the glass wall, watching the stars like they might speak to her. He always brought something, an old Earth storybook, a broken device to tinker with, or simply his presence. Their moments were simple, quiet, and full of something Lucas could not explain. Trust, maybe. Hope. Era spoke more now. Each word still felt like a delicate leaf fluttering into existence, but her voice grew steadier with time. She asked about things he thought no one noticed, the way human laughter sounded, why birds migrated, what it felt like to dream. Lucas answered everything with patience and warmth. "What is music for?" she asked one evening, tilting her head as she examined a small audio player Lucas had brought. He smiled. "It's for feeling things we can't say, sometimes even when we don't understand ourselves." He played a soft piano track, slow, sad, and beautiful. Era closed her eyes, her breathing deepened. When the music ended, she whispered, "It hurts, but in a good way." Lucas nodded. "That's music." Word of their connection had traveled beyond whispered corners now. Engineers nodded knowingly when Lucas passed. Some smiled. Others frowned. Among the Valeri, discontent simmered. Lucas saw it in their stares, in the way they would pause mid-step when they spotted Era speaking aloud. To speak was taboo among them. The voice was something only lesser species used. Their culture was built on silent communion, a purity of unspoken thought. And yet here Era was, choosing voice over mind. One afternoon, Lucas found a small envelope left on his workstation. Inside, a simple message. "Stay away from the broken one, for her sake, for yours." He crumpled it and threw it in the recycler. That same night, as the stars blinked through the dome's ceiling, Era hesitated before sitting beside him. "They are watching us," she said. Lucas nodded. "Let them. They fear what I am becoming. They should fear losing you. You're braver than any of them." Era looked down, her fingers tangled in the fabric of her robe. "I am afraid." Being afraid means you're trying, he said. I'll be here every step. In the days that followed, Lucas began taking Era to other parts of the station. He showed her the water gardens where aquatic beings sang in clicks and waves. He brought her to the fusion ring, where plasma spun endlessly within a cage of light. He even introduced her to Halrin, an elderly human botanist who had grown earth ferns in zero gravity. "You're showing me your world," Era said one evening. "You deserve to see it." "Why?" "Because you're more than what they told you to be." One afternoon, he brought her to the Library of Worlds, a vast chamber filled with holographic books, memory orbs, and voice journals from across the known galaxy. "I thought you'd like it here," he said. Era drifted through the aisles, fingers gliding over floating glyphs and pulsing images. "So many voices," she murmured, none of them silent. "They all wanted to be heard," Lucas said. She paused before a display about Earth's ancient poets. She read aloud a line from a translated verse. "I speak, therefore I am." "This one understood," she said. Her voice didn't shake this time. Lucas stood beside her, pride swelling in his chest. "You understand, too." Their journey wasn't always smooth. Sometimes Era fell silent for hours. Sometimes her words jumbled or her fear returned. But each time, Lucas was there to guide her back. Then came the confrontation. It was in a corridor near the observation dome. Lucas had just finished a late repair shift when he heard raised voices. "You shame us, Era," the voice snapped. It was Veron, the tall Valeri male who had once warned Lucas. Lucas stepped into view to see Veron standing over Era, who stood motionless, her hands clenched. "Leave her alone," Lucas said, his tone firm. "You've infected her with your weakness," Veron said, his eyes never leaving Era. "You've made her believe she is something she is not." "She knows exactly who she is," Lucas replied. Era raised her chin. "I am not silent because I cannot speak. I am silent because I was told not to, but not anymore." Veron recoiled. "You disgrace us." "I am not yours to disgrace," she said. "My voice is mine, and I choose to use it." A silence hung between them, heavy and sharp. Veron sneered, then turned on his heel and walked away. Lucas exhaled. "You were amazing." Era trembled, but she smiled. "I was terrified, but I said it." Lucas took her hand. "You were brave." That night, Era came to him holding a memory crystal. She pressed it into his palm. "What is this?" "A piece of my childhood. If I am going to move forward, you should know who I was." He activated it. Images flickered Era as a child, struggling in classes while the other Valeri spoke in thoughts. A teacher turning away, her parents arguing in silence, the loneliness etched into her small frame. Lucas felt tears prick his eyes. "They made you feel unworthy. They were wrong. Thank you for making me feel seen." The days that followed were brighter. Era spoke in full sentences now. She laughed once, a real, surprised laugh when Lucas told a ridiculous joke about Earth pets. It echoed in the dome and made a passing technician smile. But not everyone was smiling. Whispers reached the council chamber. Certain Valeri elders had contacted the Central Union. Questions were asked about cultural contamination, about species interference, about whether Era's presence was destabilizing peace. Lucas received a message to attend a meeting. Era would not be welcome. He showed up anyway, holding her hand. In the council room, a dozen representatives stared as they entered. The Valeri envoy, a woman in flowing blue robes, rose from her seat. "This matter concerns the Valeri only," she said. "Then you misunderstand," Lucas replied. "This concerns all of us because it's about the right to choose who we are." Era spoke. Her voice was soft but unshaken. "I do not wish to harm my people, but I will not return to silence." An elder from the Sci-Fi delegation, a race known for their song-like speech, nodded slowly. "In every species, evolution begins with a voice." The room quieted. Lucas looked at Era. She met his gaze with certainty. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The council's chamber remained quiet long after Lucas and Era left. Their words had rippled through the assembly like soft waves against hardened walls. Not everyone agreed, but none could deny what they'd witnessed. Era, once invisible, had spoken, not only in voice, but with the dignity of someone reclaiming her existence. Back in the dome, Lucas and Era sat beneath the stars. She was quiet, her hands folded, her shoulders tense. "Did I do wrong?" she asked at last. "You did exactly what you had to," Lucas replied. "You told them the truth. No one can take that away from you." Era exhaled slowly. "Then why do I feel afraid?" Lucas looked at her. "Because you're brave, fear isn't weakness. It means you know what's at risk and you're still moving forward." Era nodded, her fingers brushed against his. "Thank you for seeing me." In the days that followed, the station buzzed with talk. Many residents, human and alien alike, began to greet Era with polite nods or quiet smiles. A few younger Valeri even offered her tentative looks of curiosity. It was not acceptance, not yet. But it was something new, something real. Era walked the station more openly now. She began practicing speech with a voice module, mimicking pronunciations, learning inflection. Lucas helped when he could. Her voice grew in confidence. Her words came easier. It was a rebirth in slow motion. But the undercurrents of disapproval remained. The Valeri envoy, Veron, watched from afar, his eyes unreadable. He had not spoken since the council meeting, but Lucas could feel a storm brewing behind that silent gaze. One afternoon, Era received an official summons from the Valeri delegation. It was a short message: "Return to your people and undergo reconnection. Your presence on this station is no longer condoned." She handed the message to Lucas without a word. "They want you to go back?" he asked. Era nodded. "They will force the mental joining, erase the voice I've found." Lucas's jaw tightened. "You're not going, not unless you choose to, and if you don't choose, I'll fight to keep you here." Era's eyes filled with emotion. "They will come. Veron will not let this stand." "Then we'll be ready." Together they went to the station director. A woman named Cyril, half human, half seraphim, with transparent wings and calm authority. "You're asking for protection," Cyril said, examining the transmission. "We're asking for asylum," Lucas replied. "She's a sentient being choosing her own path. Doesn't that mean anything under interstellar law?" Cyril's eyes met Era's. "You've caused a quiet revolution, child, and revolutions always invite resistance. Are you prepared for what comes?" Era didn't look away. "I will not go back into silence." Cyril nodded once. "Then you have my support." Lucas squeezed Era's hand. "The station will stand with you. But be warned, the Valeri delegation may act outside protocol," Cyril added. Within days, tension thickened. More Valeri ships arrived. Diplomatic liaisons argued behind closed doors. Rumors spread like smoke. Some said Era would be abducted. Others claimed the station might cut a deal for peace. Lucas and Era prepared. They installed personal comm alerts, memorized evacuation routes, and spoke often with allies among the station's residents. Late one night, Lucas woke to the blare of a soft alarm. Unauthorized entry in the engineering wing. He dressed quickly, rushed to his console. The security feed showed 3 Valeri envoys slipping into restricted space, close to where Era had been working with Halrin. Lucas sprinted down the corridors, calling for backup. He found them in the lower ring. Era stood between 2 equipment racks, her back to the wall, her voice steady. "I will not go with you." "You don't have a choice," one envoy said, stepping forward. Lucas stepped between them. "Yes, she does back off." A second envoy moved toward Era, but Halrin, frail and old, stepped out of his greenhouse with a plasma cutter in hand. "Touch her and I'll fry every vine you breathe on." The envoys hesitated. Station security arrived moments later. Cyril herself descended into the corridor, wings flickering with energy. "Your people just breached station protocol," she said. "This is not diplomacy, this is aggression." "She is one of us," Veron said from the shadows. "Her deviation is a sickness, we must cleanse it." Era stepped forward, her voice clear and defiant rang out. "I am not sick, I am not broken, I am becoming, and you are afraid." Veron stared at her, cold fury in his eyes. "You dishonor our ancestors." "No," Era said, "I honor myself." Cyril raised her voice. "You will return to your ship. You are no longer welcome on this station." The Valeri turned without another word, but Veron looked back one last time, locking eyes with Lucas. "You've made an enemy of the old ways," he said. Lucas didn't flinch. "Then it's time they changed." In the days that followed, the station calmed, but the tension lingered like static in the air. Era was granted full asylum. She received credentials as a cultural ambassador, a new title for a new kind of voice. Young Valerie aboard the station began approaching her, asking questions, listening. Some tried speaking aloud for the first time. They giggled and blushed, unsure of the sounds, but excited by the possibility. "You've started something," Lucas told her one morning. "I just wanted to be heard." "You are louder than you know." That night beneath the dome, they watched the stars again. "I never knew silence could be broken," Era said. Lucas smiled. "Sometimes it takes just one voice, and sometimes one love." Era turned to him. "What we have, is it that?" "It is to me." She leaned against his shoulder, her voice soft but sure. "Then let it be ours." The days that followed were heavy with silence, not the old, isolating silence Era had once known, but a tense, watching kind. The space station moved on around them. Ships came and went, markets buzzed, deals were struck in shadowed corners, but the echo of Veron's final words lingered like a poisonous mist. Lucas tightened the patrol schedule. Security checkpoints were added in the southern sectors, especially near the docking bays. Cyril assured him the council's vote still stood, but beneath her calm exterior, Lucas sensed unease. Era spent more time in the Library of Worlds, surrounded by stories and the growing group of Valeri youth who now looked to her as a symbol. She no longer walked in fear. Her voice had become something others echoed. "They speak aloud now," she told Lucas one evening, showing him a message from a young Valeri boy. "He wrote to say my voice helped him feel whole." Lucas smiled and touched her hand. "You gave them permission, they just needed to know it was allowed." Era's eyes shimmered. "Sometimes I still feel like that girl sitting in the dome, afraid to blink." "But now the stars blink back," he said. One morning a coded transmission arrived, not through open channels but encrypted. Hidden, it came from Valeri Prime. Lucas and Cyril decrypted it together. The message was clear. "If Era is not returned, consequences will follow. A fleet is being prepared. We will reclaim what is ours." Cyril's face was grim. "They're going to force the issue. This isn't diplomacy anymore. This is a declaration." Lucas's gut clenched. "They'll come in force, not envoys, soldiers." Era sat silently as they relayed the message. She did not flinch. She nodded. "Then let them come. I will not be theirs again." Cyril called an emergency session of the station's council. Every representative attended. Tension crackled like static. "They've issued a threat," Cyril said. "We must decide how to respond." Many agreed to support Era, others hesitated. "Valeri Prime is a powerful world," the Orion ambassador said. "Can we risk open conflict for one voice?" Lucas stood. "It's not one voice, it's every voice they try to silence. If we don't stand for her now, what message do we send?" Era rose beside him. Her voice echoed through the hall. "They fear what I represent. They fear change, but change will come, whether they silence me or not." The vote was split, but the council upheld her asylum, barely. It was enough. Within the week, Valeri ships appeared on long-range scanners, 3 war cruisers. The station's shields were raised, defense systems armed. Allies sent small fleets in symbolic support, but no one wanted war. Lucas spent long hours preparing contingency plans, evacuation drills, fallback protocols. He kept Era close. She insisted on speaking with the Valeri, but only on her terms. When the cruisers arrived, they sent one message. Era must return. Surrender her or face intervention. Era replied herself. "This voice is mine. It will not be taken." It was the beginning of the standoff. For days, the ships loomed in orbit, unmoving, watching. Inside the station, tensions spiked. Protesters appeared. Rumors swirled that some of the council were negotiating secretly. Lucas confronted Cyril. "If they get to her—" "They won't," Cyril said. "Not unless they take us all." Era began recording messages, not just for the council, but for the galaxy. She spoke of what it meant to be silenced, to find courage, to choose identity over conformity. Her words were broadcast across communication relays. People listened. People responded. Thousands of messages arrived. "You've lit a beacon," Lucas said. "Then let it burn." On the 5th day, a stealth team attempted to infiltrate the station. They breached an airlock near the observation dome. Alarms blared, security scrambled. Lucas was there first. He found them in the starlit dome, black-suited intruders surrounding Era. One reached for her. Lucas struck fast, a stun baton across the attacker's back. Era moved too, her training with the station guards showing at last. She ducked, disarmed one, turned a stun field on another. "Behind you," Lucas shouted. Era turned, blasting her attacker with a pulse gun. Then security swarmed in. The team was detained. The evidence was undeniable. "This was not diplomacy," Cyril told the Galaxy. "This was a kidnapping, and the station will not tolerate it." The Valeri denied involvement, but no one believed them. Era, bruised but unbowed, stood before the council one last time. "I was born to silence," she said, "but now I speak, not only for myself but for every voice hidden in shadow. I am Valeri, and I choose to be more." Lucas watched her with awe. "Your voice is freedom," he said later, "and they can't cage it now." Era kissed him. "It's also love." Part 5, A Voice Among the Stars. The weeks after the failed abduction felt like the calm after a storm, but it was the kind of calm that held its breath. The Valeri ships remained in orbit, unresponsive to further diplomacy. Tension edged every breath aboard the station. But something else had changed. Galaxies away, voices were rising. Messages poured in from planets where silence had long been enforced, cultures that had lived under psychic control, where conformity was law and speech was taboo. Era's defiance had ignited something. On Valeri Prime, underground forums bloomed with spoken word poetry, vocal declarations, and encrypted audio journals. Her name was whispered with reverence. Lucas and Era stayed close to the dome. It had become more than a viewing deck. It was her sanctuary, their beginning, and now a place of strength. One night, Lucas brought a holoprojector linked to a subspace relay. "Look," he said. Across the dome's glass, thousands of voices filled the air, recorded messages from distant systems, floating in glowing script. "We hear you. We speak because of you. You are not alone." Era stood motionless, tears in her silver eyes. This is more than I ever imagined." Lucas took her hand. "You started a revolution, ally." Just then, the station's alert rang again. An incoming vessel, not Valeri, not registered. Lucas and Era ran to the main command deck. A small ship exited warp. A neutral diplomatic tag blinked on its side. Aboard was an envoy from the United Coalition, a governing body larger than the Council. "We've come to mediate," said the envoy, an insected translator buzzing, "and to hear the voice that challenged the silence." Era stood before them, tall and clear. "I am not here to destroy traditions, but I will not live bound by them. The mind is powerful, but the voice is sacred too." The envoy considered her, then nodded. "Then let your people hear both." Over the next days, a summit was organized, broadcast live. Era, alongside Lucas and Cyril, represented the station. Across from them, a reluctant Veron appeared again. "You speak like a stranger," he said. "You betray what you are." "I expand it," she replied. "I am still Valeri, but I am not yours to define." The room was still. The envoy ruled. Era would not be returned. She would remain protected. More importantly, the coalition would encourage all member cultures to revisit laws around communication rights. It was a quiet victory, but a monumental one. When the Valeri ships finally left orbit, no threats followed, just silence. But it was a different silence now. Lucas and Era returned to the dome. "We're still here," he said. "And now," she whispered, "we are seen." They stood side by side watching the stars, no longer alone, no longer afraid. Her hand brushed his, her voice steady and proud. "I was the girl who never blinked. Now I am the one who speaks, and I will never stop." Lucas kissed her temple, smiling through quiet tears. "And I will always listen." Beyond the dome, stars shimmered, and somewhere across the galaxy, 1,000 new voices began to rise. The weeks after the failed abduction felt like the calm after a storm, but it was the kind of calm that held its breath. The Valeri ships remained in orbit, unresponsive to further diplomacy. Tension edged every breath aboard the station. But something else had changed. Galaxies away, voices were rising. Messages poured in from planets where silence had long been enforced, cultures that had lived under psychic control, where conformity was law and speech was taboo. Era's defiance had ignited something. On Valeri Prime, underground forums bloomed with spoken word poetry, vocal declarations, and encrypted audio journals. Her name was whispered with reverence. Lucas and Era stayed close to the dome. It had become more than a viewing deck. It was her sanctuary, their beginning, and now a place of strength. One night, Lucas brought a holoprojector linked to a subspace relay. "Look," he said. Across the dome's glass, thousands of voices filled the air, recorded messages from distant systems, floating in glowing script. "We hear you. We speak because of you. You are not alone." Era stood motionless, tears in her silver eyes. This is more than I ever imagined." Lucas took her hand. "You started a revolution, ally." Just then, the station's alert rang again. An incoming vessel, not Valeri, not registered. Lucas and Era ran to the main command deck. A small ship exited warp. A neutral diplomatic tag blinked on its side. Aboard was an envoy from the United Coalition, a governing body larger than the Council. "We've come to mediate," said the envoy, an insected translator buzzing, "and to hear the voice that challenged the silence." Era stood before them, tall and clear. "I am not here to destroy traditions, but I will not live bound by them. The mind is powerful, but the voice is sacred too." The envoy considered her, then nodded. "Then let your people hear both." Over the next days, a summit was organized, broadcast live. Era, alongside Lucas and Cyril, represented the station. Across from them, a reluctant Veron appeared again. "You speak like a stranger," he said. "You betray what you are." "I expand it," she replied. "I am still Valeri, but I am not yours to define." The room was still. The envoy ruled. Era would not be returned. She would remain protected. More importantly, the coalition would encourage all member cultures to revisit laws around communication rights. It was a quiet victory, but a monumental one. When the Valeri ships finally left orbit, no threats followed, just silence. But it was a different silence now. Lucas and Era returned to the dome. "We're still here," he said. "And now," she whispered, "we are seen." They stood side by side watching the stars, no longer alone, no longer afraid. Her hand brushed his, her voice steady and proud. "I was the girl who never blinked. Now I am the one who speaks, and I will never stop." Lucas kissed her temple, smiling through quiet tears. "And I will always listen." Beyond the dome, stars shimmered, and somewhere across the galaxy, 1,000 new voices began to rise.